Eden Koz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. P.S. Just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a psychological empath, meditation master, dimensional healer, all the things to help you within this ascension. To learn more about me, visit me at edenjustbe.com. And let's get this party started. Give me that juju, Sarah.
Juju.
Woo! And then I do some of this.
Oh, you got some
juju.
shaking?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. We're moving in. We're moving in.
Oh, and we're both purple. Ooh. Oh my
gosh. I just pulled
gosh.
this out of my closet. So it said, wear this sweater.
Oh my, and I just put this jacket on. Well, here we go. Okay, what a
Here we
magnificent start. Eden, Just Be Spiritual Boom. Welcome, SaraWolf. How you doing?
I'm well. I'm really excited to be here with you
Oh.
and all of your listeners. This is such a treat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we potentially are going to be talking today about ozone therapy, sound healing, dream weaving, medicinal plant ceremonies. And I will list every topic that we're going to talk about once I edit and produce the show. Yet when we come in, none of this is scripted, except I do ask all of my guests right off the bat about their experience with the Great Awakening. And I have asked them to lead, or if they're comfortable leading, the Just Be practice at the end. Okay, a couple things I want to chat about before we get into Sarah's bio. The show is also in association with the Grassroots Warrior Network, where I am considered a co-anchor. And I love being connected to a warrior group because I don't know about you, Sarah, but I'm a spiritual warrior. Are
Mhm.
you?
Oh, I've signed up day one. The minute I got here on this planet.
We're going to talk about that too. Okay. So to clarify the intention of the show, there's a lot of crazy stuff going out in the world. Now, I wrote this down so I'm making sure I don't forget anything. Yet the show is to showcase that not only is everything okay now, it's just going to keep getting better and better and more expansive. So this is very positive. The show is about faith, love and belief in your fellow man. Oh my gosh. And how we can bring all of this stuff back into harmony, because we are not separate from any of it. The good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as well as the evil. So one of the things I have been pontificating lately is encouraging, especially for Sarah's listeners, watchers who are here, asking for folks to spend cash at least 1 to 3 times a week. And I say that every week and say what I have done. So I did some groceries, my lovely massage therapist again, and then Pia and Colin being on the show last week. They're my only regular guests. We also talked about seeing someone. So this is like connecting, really seeing someone. So I've done this twice this past week. Could have done it much deeper, but these were both people checking me out in line. So just going, hey, how are you today? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here with me. Like really being grateful as a human being that they are here with me. Yay. And then the last thing before I read your lovely bio. I was just on the Typical Skeptic Podcast, which this is so great. And I encourage you guys to listen to it. I was like on episode, it's not, he didn't put it in the description, but it's like episode 1010. So it blows me away with how many episodes he does. So yeah, Robert's quite good. You can find him on Rumble and YouTube, and I will include the link to the show in the notes, especially if you want to hear the fullness of me. Now, let's get into the fullness of Sarah. Sarah is a quantum and sound healing practitioner. Yeah, let me take a little breath. Okay. She has walked a deep spiritual path and lived a very colorful life since arriving on this planet. Her calling in this incarnation is to assist people in their awakening, coaching through the dark spaces and places, bringing them back to their light and divine selves. She has been walking her path for the majority of her life. In 2019, she was called by Spirit to take a more active role in guiding others. She is a certified ozone therapist, sound healing practitioner, compassion keys practitioner, which that one's also new to me, crystal therapy practitioner, EFT and TFT tapping practitioner, and an angel therapy practitioner. She is also a peyote medicine ceremonialist within the Church of Casa de los Abuelos. She is the host of a spiritually based podcast, Creatix Culture. I did say that right, didn't I?
Creatrix. So it's like
Creatrix.
create, and then
Tricks.
Rix. Yep.
Thank you. And I listened to that multiple times, and I do this a lot. I say things wrong, even though I know how to say them.
Oh, I do it the minute I press play, and then I like totally butcher someone's name, and then I forget words, and it just like
Okay, good. So I'm not alone in that, which is awesome.
I think it's a podcast thing.
Okay, good. It's not just a me thing. She lives full-time in Los Angeles, California with her other half and her 11-year-old golden retriever, Maylee. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I have to include this now, and we'll talk about this in a minute. I came across Sarah because I had just joined Dreamweaving Loom, and someone showed her podcast in terms of talking about that, and I send it to people that I'm like, oh, you might be interested in that. So they talk about it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So to see her face to face is really, really awesome. So my first question is always, and I want to hear, especially you being born into this world, knowing that you were different. How then did you start to see the Great Awakening and see that the world was a little, not what it presents itself to be? How did that happen for you?
I think it's been a slow unveiling, and especially now when I've been doing really deep reflection and clearing through my life and looking back at different spaces and places where I could see the veil was still over my eyes in certain things. So I might have been awakened, whatever, to over here, but I wasn't over here. And I've been really kind of toying with, was that age, like, when you come into wisdom, so the veils keep going off, or simultaneously, is it also because of where consciousness is going and the veils are coming off even more? So there was stuff I knew, like when I first had my biggest knowing that I knew more than the people around me, and I saw things that people didn't see, was when I was 3. And my rabbit got killed in front of me by a dog, and I started questioning life, death, heaven, and all this. And I go to my mom and I said, where do we go when we die? And she said, heaven. And I was like, that's not right. I don't know what it is, but that's not right. And then I was brought
Did
to
you
the
say that, or did you just
no, just in
listen?
my head.
Mom,
Then
that's not right.
That's not right. Then I was brought to the Catholic Church because I was raised Catholic, and a lot that they were saying, my whole insides would shudder every time I had to walk in the doors there. And I would just listen to what they were saying, and I'm like, that's not right. I don't know what it is, but that's not right. And then because I was going against everything the Catholic Church told me not to do or think or whatever, I went on a path of destruction because I thought I was a bad person, because I didn't believe them, but I also wasn't going to drink the Kool-Aid and just follow what they say. So I've always had a rebellious spirit that hasn't stopped. It's actually magnified, but it's in a more like conscious channeling.
Yes.
But there's things that, to be honest, there was things leading up to the 2020 where little droplets were starting to come in more and more and more of like, wait, how do we really know on the news that that story that they just aren't just like flashing someone's pictures and making up a story? Like, how do we really know that in that part of the world or across America that those people are even real? And I started having like questions like that I didn't have before. And I always had an aversion to the news. I always had an aversion to politics. I always had these aversions that like boyfriends and my ex-husband would get mad at me about, like, you need to know what's going on in the world. And I was like, but there's something, like, I've spent a lot of my life, something's wrong, but I don't know what it is yet. This isn't right. And I've always held on to that fact that I don't know the answer. I'm going to find the answer, but I also know it's not true. And I'm not just going to take what you say and run with that. I want the truth, and it's a vibration in me. So I know when it's not the truth. So I would say most of everything for me, 2020, being taken out of jobs and having an entire year, Spirit put me through like like I feel like I got my PhD in everything. Like everything.
So
I
were
was
you in
like,
a normal corporate job? Because I know you've been doing your spiritual work, isn't this right? For even though you've had like okay, like 20 years, studied it for 20 years, you've been
mhm.
doing it for 3? Is that
It's
correct at this point?
over 4 now that I've
Over
been
4.
like being like a practitioner.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
in 2008 I became an angel therapy practitioner, but I still just kind of shelved it.
Yeah.
I'm an actress. I do voiceover work. I just after 10 years came back to on camera because a manager came and took me out of what I call my retirement. I do content creation for Facebook. It's completely it's really funny because it's contradictive to my life, but it
Whoa.
has really big purpose and I have a really big platform. So even though it looks low vibe, I'm filtering my energy into a space and place to people in certain places of the world that are very unconscious. So I'm meeting them at their level, but I'm really stealthily raising the vibration,
Got it.
but I also make money doing it. But then I take that money and then I bring it back over here. So I call it Robin Hooding.
I love that. I love it because one of the shows or documentaries that kind of really started opening my eyes was Out of the Shadows. And they talk
Mhm.
about how dark Hollywood is. Yet they also say there are so many people in Hollywood that are attempting to bring goodness and light. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just kind of
That
mimicking
alone
what you're saying.
is what's interesting to me because I wrote off Hollywood and have the voiceover is a different beast. It's kind of a separate like they kind of cross but not really. It's its own thing and you're just at your home. I have a voiceover booth in my house and like you're just by yourself, you're spitting out the stuff and you're moving on. Um but especially through the pandemic, I was like I am done. I want to have nothing to do with this world. So the fact that a manager came out of nowhere, asked me to come back, I wasn't expecting it. And being where I'm at in my work and how confident I am in what I'm doing and knowing now because I have all the information that I didn't have when I was 20 and came to LA. I get why I'm part of that team that's meant to go back in and go deep and start restructuring and bringing light into Hollywood. And I wouldn't have thought that would have came back on my path that way. I had no idea.
Wow. Because isn't it right that you moved to LA to basically become an actress?
Hmm. Yeah, I grew up dancing, came to LA to do,
Uh,
I mean, to get out of Minnesota and be in sunshine was like number one. And then, yeah, to be a part of the entertainment industry, I just always had a really big calling to film. And what's funny about it though, is that this is where my veil and my like unconscious, where I wasn't awakened is I looked at, because of being an artist, I looked at Hollywood. I didn't know. I actually didn't. I knew there was some like dark, weird stuff, but I didn't know how deep that rabbit hole went. When I knew when I was young, I was going to be an actress, and I came to LA when I was 20, and I thought I could go in and help awaken people back then. I didn't know how, who, what, when, where, or how. That was always my mission. Like, and I would get mad at celebrities, like, you have this platform, like, why are you doing dumb stuff? Like, I didn't get them, like, you're their puppet. I didn't get
yeah.
these things, and I wasn't understanding why more things weren't helping raise consciousness because I looked at artists, and what do artists do is they're here to expand the mind and the soul and the whatever. So where Hollywood got me and I was blinded to, even though it's so weird that spirit was guiding me and keeping me protected. And it's like when I could have success, it wouldn't quite, when I was in my 20s, like fully happen. And I was like routed around because I get why now. I didn't have all the information and there was stuff I didn't know. So I was being protected in a way to like have the taste of it, understand it, but it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't my time to be in this world. But I was like hanging out with like, you name them, I hung out with them or was in the same room with, like everyone, the keys were handed to me in the city in Hollywood, but I didn't fully take it. And I exited Hollywood in 2004, even though I still lived in LA. I kind of like pulled myself out of it. And so anyway, that's when during 2020, when I started doing my deep dive into absolutely everything, I'm like, if you had a visual of, it didn't look like this in my house, but if you had a visual, I was the crazy person with the string and the pictures everywhere, and you'd walk in and it would have been my whole house because that's how crazy, but I'm just mapping it out in my head and I'm like, oh my gosh,
This and
and
then
I,
this.
yeah, I had a really big hard time with the Hollywood piece because my dreams
Yes.
and my vision and what I was being called in my soul to do, it was wrong. It was dark. We're brainwashing people. Like we're doing this. We're making people like follow the unconsciousness. Like that is, and I was like, how did spirit and how did everything lead me to this like dead end dark road? And that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm not and I went through a big mourning piece in that because a lot of what I was driven and working towards, even though my path went over here and over here and over blah, 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 but the main goal was this thing. And so I shelved it, I left it, I was like mad at it, and then yeah, then out of nowhere it was like, nope, come back now. It's now. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh, I get what we're doing now. Oh, it all makes sense. Okay.
Oh my
I
gosh.
get why we're here.
Okay, I'm going to tag on to you with that. It's okay. So, me also doing holistic practitioner work against Western medicine. Same thing. There have been so many periods of time where things started to grow and then something seemed to hijack it. And now I completely understand because I was listening to one podcast where someone said if they have a name, they're in the game. So I don't have a name, yet I'm not supposed to, because if I did, I would be targeted. I would be so coming
Mm-hmm.
under the radar. Yet knowing this is a time for all of us who have had this calling and to be out there. But again, it's not to be famous, especially right now. No
Mm-mm.
fame. And
Mm-mm.
this isn't an ego thing at all.
Mm-mm.
It's just this drive,
Mm-hmm.
a positive, pure drive to help people, to
Mm-hmm.
help humanity. And I watched one video where you talked about you had just done a peyote ceremony. And wasn't it after that that all this started coming back your
Mm-hmm.
way immediately?
Mm-hmm.
All right, tell about that because I also on Pia and Colin who were on the show last week, we talked about the opening into the age of Aquarius, that we are moving into this goodness and into the light, and it doesn't mean that everything's just going to be great. There's still going to be challenges, especially for
Mm-hmm.
spiritual people. Come on, yet it seems like this has happened to you pretty recently. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Okay, talk about
Since
that.
October.
Ooh.
So we were running, I work with a Navajo shaman. We hold the ceremony space for peyote. It's really powerful and a really big honor for me, that spirit and uh, the Church of Casa de los Abuelos would even like bring me in as an official ceremonialist. So if you would have told me 5 years ago, I wasn't even doing plant medicine and I didn't even know peyote was going to be on my path. And I originally sat with this shaman in peyote in January of 2021. And I had a profound experience and connection to the plant spirit and the plant. And it told me that I was meant to bring it more to the people and hold ceremony. And I was like, I have no lineage in this. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how, like, okay. And then some friends of mine from Minnesota opened up a retreat center in Arizona and they contacted me and they're like, they predominantly do yoga and stuff. And I said, look, knowing the people in Los Angeles, like my communities, they're not going to pay to come to Arizona to do yoga. We do yoga everywhere around, for a
Mhm.
retreat. I said, but they'll pay to come for plant medicine ceremony. And then the shaman lives in Phoenix, and I was like, if you're open to plant medicine and peyote, I have a Navajo elder shaman who lives here, and this would be really convenient, to put all the pieces together. And it just all came together. So the first retreat that we did, so we do peyote 2 nights, and the second night,
Do
as
you
he's
mind describing
yeah.
what peyote is and
So yeah, so it's considered mescaline. It's a cactus, and the cactus forms these little buttons, and then you take the buttons, and I don't know exactly how the full process goes. We source the peyote from sacred peyote gardens, the original gardens in Mexico that are prayed over, and it's
Wow.
very high vibrational where we get our peyote from. So
Okay.
they send it in either full buttons or like a powder or these like chips. And so then we have 3 ways it can be administered. Is you can put some powder on your tongue and you drink it down. He makes the tea with it as well, so you drink it. And then there's this stuff that I called salsa, but he calls mush. And then you take spoonfuls and you eat it. And what's beautiful about peyote is it's a heart medicine, it's not a head medicine. So if you take psilocybin, being magic mushrooms, it can get very mental, right? So you see your big visuals and it's crazy and all the stuff, and you're going to see stuff inside your brain and outside of your brain and everything. Generally with peyote, it's the outward visuals is common, but not that common. And everything you process through your heart. So you're not processing it through your mind, you're processing it through your heart. So as things are coming up in ceremony, or stuff you've been working on forever, or just coming up a week before, because the minute you say yes to ceremony is the minute the healing starts in the shamanic world. So stuff can come up, and then as you're working through it while you're sitting in ceremony, it's all working through your heart. So what's kind of powerful about it is once you're on the other side of ceremony, you go back out in the world and you just feel different.
Yeah.
And you're being able to handle things different, and you're moving through life different. And then you're seeing, like, sometimes the changes are so subtle that it works. It's so intelligent. The plant world is so intelligent that it just works in a way that you didn't even know it like shifted it for you, and it like put a little bow on it, and it tied it all up, and it healed that part. And now you're walking with your heart through the world and not your head or stuck in all your things. So it's a very gorgeous medicine. They call it the grandfather. It's also can be referred as grandmother, but I say grandfather because then you have ayahuasca that is very much referred to as the grandmother, so people don't get confused. And she kind of kicks your ass. I don't know if I can say ass.
Yeah.
So the grandfather, like, yeah, he can sometimes get really hard, especially if you're resisting, but generally it's a lot more of a graceful walk. And to me, it's really powerful, and I have such a deep connection to it. It just works with my spirit and my body and my chemistry so incredibly well. And so anyway, the second night, Ron is preparing the peyote, and we're just having a conversation while he's preparing it in the kitchen, and the participants are getting ready for ceremony upstairs. And we're just talking about the film industry and just having a very casual conversation, but we were talking over the medicine. And then we weren't talking anything bad about it. We were actually talking about things that we love about it. And he works in the film industry too, bringing high vibrational films to people, and is in the process of doing this new film and all this stuff. And my heart was kind of hurting of like, oh, I missed this part about my life. Like this part, like that dream, that original dream, right? So then that was a Saturday, and then we go through ceremony. I come back to LA. That Friday, the following week, I get a phone call from this manager. I know her from some other stuff. We're just like talking, and long story short, by the end of the conversation, she's like, "I'm going to rep you. You're going to go back on camera." And and then Saturday, so 1 week to the day, she's emailing me a 3-year contract. Then I thought it, because I haven't done that type of acting in so long, I don't know what the industry does. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get headshots and all this stuff. No, she was already sending me out on auditions. So the first audition that I did in 10 years I booked, that I did a self-tape audition, and then the first in-person audition I did in 10 years I booked. And I was like,
Wow.
that's when I was like, okay, there's something bigger at play here, and I'm just going to say yes and follow this road because it came and sought me. I wasn't seeking it this time.
Ah,
And the mature part about me isn't in it for what the younger part about it me needed, that validation. As much as I loved it, I still needed that validation in my 20s. I don't need that validation. I'm good. I have a lot going on, you know?
yes.
But clearly it's coming back because the seeds that were planted and the work that I did is to bring me over here to do this half of the mission, basically, or next part of the mission of what that is. And if it's me having to take a bigger role and be in the face of people and okay, like if I would rather just be, like autonomous and be at home, but like if that's what's being asked and I need to do the work that way, then I'm gonna do it. And that's like the warrior in me. That is, or like,
Yes.
the indigo child. Like I know I was here to be a part and I've always known that. And I would have visions of it. Um, it would always come in the form of there would be like you were on the battlefield and then there was like a one side over here and there's spiritual people over here. And my family would always be on the other side of the field and that we'd literally have to fight each other. It was always shown in a visual like that. We would have to fight each other, the spirit against the people that weren't awakened. And I would
Wow.
get these flashes of this vision like over and over. So when 2020 started happening and the divide started happening, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, this is it. It didn't look like my family's over here and all this stuff, but it was like I get why they put that vision in my head so I would have a really great understanding of what was coming.
So speaking of that, how has your family responded to you not gravitating towards the Catholic religion,
Oh,
doing
they
what you
real
do now?
yeah, they've learned real young. Or me when I was really young, like I trained them to yeah, they knew they had to let me go. Like they just whatever it is, like they as much as they don't understand things or whatever do it or be a part of certain things, it's been amazing my support system that they honor everything that I do.
Oh my gosh. So we may not understand it, but we're going to be there for you.
Hmm.
That does not happen very often. That's
Mm-mm.
great.
I'm really blessed in that because I know people that it's not like that for them
Oh
and
yeah.
it's really hard.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean they see like in everything I do I work really hard and so they know that like I have a good head on my shoulders so to speak as in their terms,
Oh,
so I know that they know that whatever decision I'm making is very well thought out and it's
mhm.
very purposeful. Even if it even goes like not in fully align with their beliefs, they really understand that I'm very like clear, hard-minded of like this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to go do that. And I don't know
Gosh.
what it means yet, but I'm still going to go do it.
So great. I was just one of the podcasts that I do like is Delling Pod, and it's a Christian based podcast, and his guests are astounding. Yet he was talking literally before our show today. I was listening to one where he brought up metaphysical people, that fear is a low vibration, love is a high vibration, and that we're all getting back to love. And he said it very flippantly, like, oh, this is all that metaphysical people espouse, and this is all you have to do. And I was just sitting there going, oh my gosh, I want to be on that show to clarify it ain't that easy.
Oh God, no.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it has been, for me, it is the stripping when you're seeing the veil fall down. It is looking at everybody, all these relationships, yourself. It is the most wonderful, yet most challenging thing to do.
Hmm.
What would you say to that?
Oh,
Ooh,
I mean, that's what my podcast is based around really is just
there.
like
Uh-huh.
breaking, going to like, what is it really? And when I had the aha moment of
Yeah.
that was when I would in my 20s, I would read all these like manifestation books and I would do everything to a T and nothing would happen. And I'm like, what? Like there
Yes.
must be something wrong with me. Da, da. And then when the aha moment came in, I was like, no, it's that they're missing an entire part that is so important and imperative to this work, because you can't have this if you don't understand and work with this.
Mhm.
And I don't want to say fully heal, because that polarity is going to really kind of always be there. Our
Yeah.
shadows are going to be there, but we can understand them and work with them. But
Mhm.
until you have that figured out, this, you might have a glimmer of it, but you might not be able to sustain it. And that's when the whole different end of work started. And that's when I was like, I really need to bring these, clarification to people and go into the nitty gritty, because it's not fun. Like even 3 weeks ago, it was not fun in my head. Like we had a New Year's retreat, a
Yeah.
peyote retreat, and I came back to LA and I was not okay. And I was just going through something that got unearthed. And I say, when energy moves,
Mhm.
you don't always need the story. So I was just letting the energy move, and I was angry, and I was
My
this,
gosh.
and it got dark, and I was like, this is like getting like kind of scary in my head, but I'm going to ride this wave because I have enough tools now I can do it. But like, this is getting gnarly. And then it broke. And it was just another layer that I had to dive into and look at certain things, and yeah, aspects about yourself, aspects how you are with other people.
Mhm.
Um, that come up, and
Can
it,
I
like
can
the
I add this into
yeah,
your story?
yeah.
So I had a very similar experience over the past couple weeks where there was I went from this pissed off portion of me that had always kind of been there. I thought I'd healed some of it, but got much deeper to the point of this anger where, and again, you talk about, oh, spiritual people, they're so kind and so loving. I not only wanted to rip your head off, I wanted to put fire into your body. I wanted to strip off your limbs. And then just sitting there watching how powerfully angry and violent I could be, and
Mhm.
then turning that into passion and this warriorship. So it's so nice to hear that someone else had basically kind of the same experience as
Yeah,
me.
I feel like a couple people did. Now
Yeah.
I'm actually on what started to be a 5-day juice cleanse, and I'm going 7, and I might even go 10. I don't
Ooh,
know yet.
okay.
But after that, I'm like, I need a hard reset of my body. I need to, like, whatever these energies are,
Yeah.
like I hadn't had a gym membership in a minute. I'm like, I got a gym membership. I need to go work this out. Like I need to lift this weights. I need to lift weights. I need to strengthen. I need to work this energy hard out of my body. And then now I need to cleanse, like do a super duper
Mm.
duper cleanse of my vessel to move this energy. But it was like, I feel like it fully broke once the full moon was completely full, but the energies from the beginning of the year going up to that, yeah, it got really dark.
Yes, I would concur with that. All right, hey, let's take this moment to go into dream weaving and the sacred
Hmm.
economy. And was it when 2000 hit for you, was that when you started getting
Hmm.
involved in okay, so tell
Yeah, and
tell a
it's
little
like
bit about your
what's
experience.
interesting is that I remember hearing about it back in the early 2000s that was
Whoa.
happening here in LA.
Okay.
And I almost became a part of one, and then I don't know what happened. And then it just kind of like went away. And then during 2020, that's when they just like came online fully, and they were everywhere, and like all these different ones that you can be a part of, and digital ones and not digital ones, and here and there, and different monetary values, and the concept of it. So the concept of everyone pooling the money, like bringing money and gifting the person in the center, and then the whole concept of it is like, I completely, from the moment it started, I said, yes, I understand this. It's such a higher of like a fifth dimensional way of thinking. Fifth dimensional being, we live in the third dimension. The fifth is like where we're going in just like more of an unconditional loving space, and where we're really taking care of each other, where we're
Mhm.
not in this polarity, uh every man for themselves, self-service way of living, that we're going back to community, taking care of each other. and just knowing the flow and the energy and working within that if I give over here, it's going to be come back to me over here. Like that's where we're going. So to me, it really made sense. What's an interesting space about it, and it's actually kind of phenomenal, is, and we were talking about this right before, briefly before we came on here, is it really shows where the collective level of consciousness is, though, because when they
Mhm.
don't work, because they should work and they will work and they can work, and they're not a pyramid scheme and they're not all this weird stuff that people make up that that's all of that stuff is brainwash stuff anyway. That's all programming because they don't want you to get this. It's the same with network marketing, direct sales, whatever you want to call it. To me, I've been a part of them, understood it right away. This makes total sense. But
Mhm.
everyone's like, it's a pyramid. No, if you really understand how this stuff works. Yes, people can be annoying. I get that. Yes, some companies, their structures are set up not the best. I get that. But in the grand scheme of things, this makes so much more sense. And half the time, the products that are out there are so much better for you than the stuff you're going to buy in your brick and mortar. So
Mhm.
it makes complete sense. But the programming, it's where the programming comes in. So when they don't work or people can't really understand it, and it's not to any fault of their own, it's just where they're at in their level of programming. It's where they're at in their level of consciousness. So if they can't understand it and they think it's a pyramid, or when the things get stuck or they won't move, or people aren't whatever, it starts showing where there's their lack, where are they in that flow of abundance, of their consciousness, of seeing it from this fifth dimensional unconditional love perspective, that it's just showing you where your level of programming is. So once you start undoing your programming and you see where, like, they've put in your head, like, you need to act this way, think like this, your money should only come from this, there's no
Mhm.
possible way that community could come together and lift each other up, whatever it is, it just became so apparent. So I would have some that would just move so gracefully, and then I would have others that were just like people dropping out, people getting angry at each other, just this whole thing happening. And it's like, okay, well, the only thing that this is it's just where this consciousness is, where this group consciousness is. This group consciousness is in lack. It's a lack mentality. It's a fear-based mentality around money. They still have things to work out within themselves about money. Well, if I'm in this group, then where is that in me, that I'm still parts, that I'm even resonating, that I'd be a part of a group that it's not working out. So now I have more work to do.
Wonderfully put.
So the only way they don't work out is when people haven't done the work yet. If they're in an abundant mindset and they've reached that place, it will always work, and the people coming in will always make it work.
So because when I first heard the word sacred economy and knowing about this 3D world transitioning into 5D, that's all I had to hear. So right off the bat, my gut said, yes, I don't really, the details don't really matter to me. I just feel that this is where I'm drawn just to experience it. And
Mhm.
Sarah, you're right. Very accurate. When it's flowing and everybody is in that, because I'm in two looms right now, and one is just moving beautifully, and the other one is having some hiccups, let's put it that way. Yet I really enjoy what you're saying too, because they are both presenting kind of the opposite to me. So
Mhm.
how do I find my place within both? Because it's kind of like one's more 3D, one's more 5D.
Mhm.
It's just it's a little painful and
Mhm.
it's great all at the same time. And everybody also talks about this as a very underground movement, so don't talk about it too much, keep it under wraps. Yet I feel it's important to unearth it just a little bit, not to have to go into all the details about it.
Mhm.
Do you Is there anything else you would like to say on it? Because I felt that that was really great, but maybe there's more.
Um, I don't. Yeah, I think it's gonna, like, they'll as we continue to heal these dark aspects, and especially this financial money, like as things are getting more and more expensive, and whatever
Yeah.
people are saying, I don't listen to it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, like, yeah, it is, but I just can't subscribe and hang
Mhm.
on to that.
Mhm.
I really do believe like as it makes no sense that it's getting more expensive because I'm like, let's look at that. Like nothing happened. They just make it up and then it does. You know what I mean? It's like if a big,
Exactly.
huge flood came and wiped out half the earth, I would get why my banana is more expensive, right? I really would understand that, but nothing happened.
So funny.
Literally nothing happened,
Yes.
right? So I really believe like, and I really try to practice this. And does it work every time? No, but it will, and it
Yes.
does, is that I don't subscribe to those stories because I believe that I will just elevate while it elevates. So if it goes up here, I'm going to go up here. Well, like, people say like, oh, LA is such a, expensive city. Yes, but you also make more money here.
Mhm.
So it's the same. I lived back in Minneapolis for almost 5 years at the end, during the recession, basically, at the end of 2007 to 2012.
Okay.
And the cost of living, yes, was so much less there, but I didn't make as much money as I do here.
Mhm.
So it was the same. So as it goes, you can go. As it goes, you know what I mean? Like why, if you're gonna be in lack mentality, scarcity consciousness, oh no, it's da 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 da. I can't possibly. Okay, open up your consciousness, open up your vessels, open up your channel. Allow abundance to come in different ways, even if you have a corporate job. It's a little bit harder when you're stuck in the salary and you're stuck in that box and they take up all your time. But open your mind that there's possibility that an opportunity could come to you at any moment of any day, and you could channel other abundance from that,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I've only been doing this Facebook gig for a year and I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it just came on my path. And my friends are like, da da da. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what this is.
Because in one
Sure.
show, you talked about having multiple revenue streams.
Hmm.
Well, so that's got to be so because you're not reliant on one thing. And I love doing multiple things too.
Hmm.
Like every week I check in on myself. Am I going to keep doing with this podcast? And every time it says, yeah. So I'm like, okay. And not that this is a
Hmm.
revenue bringer, but it is an abundance bringer, like getting to meet you, all the connections that
Hmm.
I'm getting and all the healings that I'm getting. It's just been so neat.
Yeah.
Hey, take a second and tell me
Hmm.
about ozone therapy. What
Yes.
is that?
Magic. It's
Ooh,
magic.
I get.
Yeah. Ozone is a natural occurring substance. It's oxygen that goes through UV light. It goes from O2 to O3. And it literally can heal so much in your body. It is mind blowing. You can check out my website because I do have my ozone therapy page that lists like 100 different things, and it's more than a
Yes.
hundred, but I just have 100 different things of what it can help
Yep.
heal. The reason why you don't see it in Western medicine is because the big, beautiful, big,
Oh,
people, you can't patent natural occurring substances, so they can't make any money off of it, and they don't want you to get better, and they want to keep you sick. So
right.
therefore, they push it under the rug and say it's bad or say whatever. And you go to other countries, and it's actually part of their one of their healing modalities. And then the people that do it here jack up the prices. A lot of times it might be really too expensive. I have a ozone sauna in my house. So basically the gas is pumped into a chamber, your head's out, and the chamber heats up, and then the gas is basically infused in your skin. And I charge 100 per session, but I also work with people because I want people to heal if that's, out of their price range. But I try to keep it at a price that's not like so ridiculous that it's
Okay.
unattainable for someone.
Yeah, I would think in LA
Um,
that's a very decent price.
yeah.
Okay.
And I was introduced to it because I actually in the summer of 21 got COVID. And I got my ass kicked and it was
Whoa.
fantastic.
Whoa.
And I say it was fantastic because of my stance on it and because of where I've
Mm.
stood since day
Okay.
one. Um, and being such a warrior, so many people came to me after I got it and they're like, okay, does this like change your like perspective? I go, no, it actually
Mhm.
like strengthens like it strengthens where I am. And I feel that to continue to walk my walk, I had to know was what was really what it was. I needed to
Yeah.
fully experience what it was. Um and I needed to see my body work through it. And what was so interesting about it is like I knew in my health cupboard not one thing in there was going to battle this thing because it was such a foreign entity that
Whoa.
something might that would like, I have my stuff I do the minute
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to get a cold. I do XYZ. It doesn't even come into my field.
Mhm.
There was nothing in that medicine cabinet that was gonna attack this. It was literally you just had to ride it out. Not one thing because it was such a foreign entity. And I was emaciated by the end. It was like I couldn't eat for an entire week. I was like, I would pick up my hair in the middle of the night and just like, it was like I came out of the shower, just like pools of,
What?
I had 102 to 103 temperature for 7 days. It was
Wow.
also the middle of summer. So it was like 90 degrees heat wave. And I could
So
just
was
lay,
this like collectively like a 2-week experience?
yeah, because then
Okay.
it took me another week to recover like fully. I lost my taste and smell one day. Then I got this over the counter flu Mexican from medicine from Mexico
Hmm.
that actually got my taste and smell back within 24 hours.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Um, so anyway, long story short, because this does go to Ozone, is that then my friend, she calls me and she's like, I know you're recovering. I just went and did this thing called Ozone. There's this little hippie guy in LA. I'm not going to say what part he lives in, but we're just to say he's an old hippie guy in LA that does this thing called Ozone. You need to go do it for your recovery. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. So I drive like 30 minutes to some guy's house.
Some little hippie guy.
Some little hippie guy. Like, I took a friend with me, not because I was scared. I'm like, you want to just go do it with me? Like, sure.
Right.
She's like, yeah. So the way he administers it is called DIV, where he sticks a needle into your vein and over a half
Whoa.
an hour pumps the ozone straight into your vein.
So
And
you went in going, yeah, just stick it in there. Do you feel comfortable with that?
yeah, I
Just
don't
because
know
your friend,
why.
okay, you just knew it was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just knew like Spirit was like this is it. So when you do it that way, which it is like that way out of all the ways you can get ozone is the most like risky. But I did it 8 times and I'm still alive, so I'm fine. But your blood, all the blood from your entire body goes by that needle. So it cleanses your entire blood system.
Oh, wow. Got
And
it.
so I went the first time, felt amazing after, and I just kept going. And the second time, he started talking and he was like, the cleaner the blood, the cleaner the mind, the cleaner the actions, the happier you are, and the cleaner the lifestyle. The dirtier the blood, the dirtier the mind, the dirtier actions, the dirtier lifestyle, and the more depressed you are. Just by simply cleansing your blood, you can go to God. And
Mm,
I was like, because
right.
being spiritual and tapped in and all the things my whole life, even when I wasn't teaching and playing a bigger role, I still would speak things to people. I still was teaching people in not a formal setting. I was still,
Mhm.
and I was always the weird one and the weird and the little girl over here and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm fine with that. Like, you guys don't know. People, when they're more like left brained or more earthbound or more, whatever, wherever they are in their journey of consciousness, can't comprehend a lot of our things that we talk about when it's way too up here.
Mhm.
And some people have taken it too far where it does get weird and it does get a little bit too far out there. And even for me, some people, I'm like, okay, let's bring it in a little bit, right? So rein it in. Um, so I get where, and I think there's also been some programming and they want you to go away from that. So they're going to feed people to think something's woo woo or silly or whatever. But to explain something that's so tactical, that's in your body, that I can explain to you, light blood equals happiness, dark blood equals depression. Dark blood will be given to you by your pharmaceuticals, by your preservative food, by these chemicals, blah 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 blah. Clean blood is your high vibrational foods, your plant medicines, being not the psychedelics, but even, in the holistic world, you're this or that, right? Is going to just help keep your blood clean. And that brings you to happiness. And you, just by having a lighter colored, healthy blood, will naturally want an apple over a donut, and it won't even be a second in your mind of decision. It just is. And when I was at work, I was waiting tables during this time for a brief moment in time once the pandemic opened back up, and I was
Yeah.
working, and all of a sudden Spirit dropped it in, and I had a bigger aha moment about ozone, and I was seeing things and connections and all this stuff, and I was like, I need to bring this to people. Like, I need to be a part of this. This is like it. What's super weird is that when I was little, and even in like grammar school or whatever, I'd draw these triangles with little circles around each tip, and I would do it all the time like a psycho, right? And then I would draw them into little people, and my triangles, like triangles are everywhere. And then when I finally see
Oh,
the
gracious.
structure of ozone, and the symbol for ozone is a triangle with circles around each point. And I was like, stop it. So this was July, and then in October, I flew to Reno, and I studied with Dr. Salenberger, who is like the ozone doctor of America, and that's how I got certified. But because I'm not a doctor and I can't put needles in people and do
Right.
different ways that he taught us to do it, it just so happened I'm at lunch on that trip with these doctors, and this lady's like, if you have an extra $2,500 in Santa Barbara, someone's selling on eBay an ozone sauna, go get it. And I was like,
Whoa.
okay. So it was a dental office, because you can also do dental ozone, which is phenomenal. So if you have periodontal disease or anything like that, find an ozone dentist. You
Okay.
don't
Wow.
have to do all this stuff they say that you need to do. You can literally heal everything in your mouth with ozone as well. So I drive to this dental office, and I put this thing in back of my car, and I drive back to LA. And as the secretary's like, as we're loading it in, right? She's like, gosh, I think I like really undersold this. And I was like, yep, bye.
See you later. Thank you. Thank
It's
you very
like,
much.
I have like $25,000 worth of equipment. And she
Wow.
completely like it, but it was like all meant to be. So now it's in my
Wow.
living room. I do sessions out of my house. It's still like one of those things. It's like looming. It's like any of these things it's not like I'm doing sessions every day, because people also don't get it yet,
Mhm.
which is fascinating. Like, I can
Mhm.
give them so like you just and then I even have friends, I'm like, hey, you really helped me out on this thing. Like, I would love to gift you an ozone session. And they won't take me up on it. Or like, one of my girlfriends will
Yep.
like, watch my dog a lot. And she was like really sick the other month. And I was like, come over and take an
Just
ozone.
try it. Oh my gosh.
And she's like sees, but
Yeah.
like it's this weird thing. So I'm like, I mean, I just did it before the show. But I'm like, all I know is I have it. I was called to it, and it's in my home, and it's available, and I'm doing it for myself. And it's also available as people start
Opening
seeing
up.
what they need more and more. And it'll just be time. And that's fine. But it's all these things. It's just like, as people start, the veils start coming off, and
Yes.
they start seeing, and then they follow the trails, and they see more and more and more, then they'll be led to these things. Or like, they're seeing like, this medicine and that medicine isn't doing anything for their body,
Yes.
and their only other option is to find something else. And so I'm
Mm.
just literally holding space for
Yep.
all of it, for people's healing.
Ditto.
Because one of my things during the pandemic was, because I'm like, why people can't see, like, why aren't they just like waking up? Blah. And Spirit was like, honestly, who the F are you to
Right.
decide when someone's going to wake up. That is
Mhm.
not your decision. You sit down. You go in
Calm
your
it down.
corner.
I know. You wanna rip someone's head off, you wanna blow fire down, it just yeah, I feel
That
ya.
is their soul path, and you have to
Right.
honor that. And if they don't want to
Yes.
wake up in this lifetime, that's not their
That's
soul
okay.
path. It has
Right.
nothing to do with you. Go be available for the people that need you and worry about yourself. And so
Well, with
that's basically what I do.
yes, and within that, we're gonna go to, the Just Be practice. Yet I do
Yeah.
wanna clarify, Sarah, because I think this is so neat, and we were talking about being violently angry. When I was little, I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show. I would draw, like, these circles, and then I mean, they look like spaceships, these odd spaceships, and they were like, no I didn't see my friends drawing them, and my mom made a plate of one, so I still have it in my kitchen.
Yep.
How old was I? 68. I was born in 68. I was 5. And now I look at them and I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Now I totally understand." So,
Yeah.
with that, what are you gonna do for us today? We didn't even talk
We
about your sound healing and oh, there's so
It's
much more.
okay. It's okay. We can do it another time.
Just be
Um,
practice.
we're going to actually do a little bit of opening up the channels for abundance because our main initial topic on us connecting was going to be about dream weaving. And I just wanted to say with dream weaving, right, with the looms has a water aspect, right? So it has a flow. So one thing in abundance, when we're bringing abundance in, it's not something you hold on to. You have to let the energy flow and move, right? So it's like water. And they say, like, isn't it interesting that a lot of banks are next to rivers and flowing water, right? So, and then it's like a bank, it's on the bank, right? There's all these different things that actually within currency is connected to flowing of water. So why you would want to be in a loom, why you would want to be in a dream weave is you want to flow your abundance, right? So I'm gifting it to you. So I'm bringing the energy out, and people are coming in and bringing this into like the pot of water, and then that energy, it's going to come back. And I said, even in my looms that didn't work out, I wasn't mad at it. That to me it's in a savings account in the universe. And when I need that money to come back and it didn't come back in this form, it's going to flow back to me in a different form. So
Wonderfully
it's
put.
all okay, right?
Mhm.
We want to be giving our money out. We don't want to hoard it and sit on it, and you don't need a savings account. If you're really in the flow of abundance, you'll never need a savings account. If you're in trust of the universe and our divine right of abundance, you never ever ever need a savings account because it will flow to you and it will flow out. And when you need it, it comes here. And it's a beautiful dance, and I can go into a deeper thing about water another day, but just in that of like why the looms do work when people work it properly from a higher place of really understanding abundance, the universe, and the flow of everything, and keeping that flow alive. So if you kept the flow alive of the loom, it's going to keep going, right? And
Mhm.
bringing, and then going and going and bringing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do just a little meditation to open up the channels, and then you can use this meditation whenever you want, and you can also feel free to expand on it because I'm literally just channeling it as we go along. And Spirit does that. It gives me like a base to work with, and then we're just going to go from what we're going to go from. And so I encourage you, because my work that I do is I'm only your assistant as a healer. I don't heal you, I assist you in healing yourself. So I'm starting this practice for you, and you can take this practice and expand on it however you
Nicely
see
put.
fit for yourself. So
Great.
let's close our eyes. And let's just take a deep breath into our bodies, just settling into our space, into our vessels. And exhaling just gently. Now let's put our attention onto our crown chakra on the top of our head. And let's just allow our crown chakra to open. And on a deep breath, I want you to imagine a blue etheric cord coming out of the crown of your head, and I want you to shoot it up deep, deep, deep into the universe, past our sun, past our earth, deep in the universe, and wrap it around the grand central sun. So you're having a full connection to you and source, oneness, unconditional love, the full universal abundance. So now on a deep breath, let's take that source, unconditional love, universal abundance from the grand central sun on a deep breath, breathing it down. Down, 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 down through the cord into the crown of our heads, allowing the crowns to expand even wider. And on exhale, letting everything just go out of your body, back up through the etheric cord, back into the grand central sun. Anything that's negative or blocks or anything, just let it go back out of your body, back into the universe. Now I want you to move down to your feet, the soles of your feet. And I want you on a deep breath to imagine roots coming out of the soles of your feet and penetrating the earth, going deep through all the layers of the earth, deep, deep, deep down into Mother Earth, and wrapping those roots around Mother Earth's core. So let's take a deep breath, bringing it down into our hearts, and on an exhale, exhaling down the legs, out the roots, and allow the energy going down, down, down to Mother Earth's core, and allowing anything else that needs to leave your vessel to go down those roots to Mother Earth. Now we're going to sweep our body, so let's pull in unconditional love and abundance, going back up to the grand central sun, pulling the energies of unconditional love and abundance on a deep breath, pulling them down in through the crown of our head, passing by our third eye, our throat, our higher heart, our solar plexus, our navel, our sacral, into our roots, and exhaling down our legs, down our feet, down the root to Mother Earth's core. Now you're fully connected. As above, so below. You're connected to the cosmos as you're connected to the core of Mother Earth. Now I want you to see a screen in front of you. It's a filter, it's a water filter. And I want you to imagine this flowing river of abundance coming to you. But before it can enter your vessel, I want you to let all the water move through the screen, move through the filter as it's purifying the water. So when it gets to you, this water is crystal clear. It's filled with rich abundance, all positivity when it comes to money, when it comes to experience, creativity, thoughts, ideas. It's just flowing to you. And you can put some gold flakes in it and make it just shiny and yummy and nourishing to your body. We're going to pull it into our solar plexus. Our solar plexus is our power center. So first we're going to pull it into our power center. So on a deep breath, pull that river of abundance to you, pulling it into your solar plexus and letting it move through that filter and allowing the sparkly golden abundance to come into your power center, filling up your body and just exhaling the water to retreat back out of you like waves in the ocean. Letting it move out, and on a deep breath, pulling it back in, allowing it to be cleansed even more through the filter, allowing it to fill up your power center into your solar plexus on the exhale, allowing any debris in your solar plexus, any stagnation, to leave your solar plexus, to leave your body, and to also go back out into the filter and go back out into the ocean, into your river, into any body of water that you're seeing right now. Let's do it one more time, taking a deep breath in. Pulling that abundance in through the filter, pulling it into your solar plexus. Allow your personal sun to shine even brighter, even bigger. It's safe for you to be seen. It's safe for you to be powerful. It's safe for you to be abundant. And on an exhale, let anything that no longer serves you go and out of your body and back through the filter, being cleansed. So only the good particles are going back into the ocean, back into your river. That's going back out to everybody. Now let's pull in this golden, yummy river, ocean of abundance on a deep breath. We're going to go into our navel. This is our, what I like to call Buddha's belly, is our abundance center. So let's pull it in on a deep breath, pulling the water in through the filter, cleansing it and letting it go right into your navel or right into your abundance center. Filling your abundance, move through your body. It is your birthright. It's safe to have everything you possibly want in any form. Allowing that feeling to move through your body, and on an exhale, exhale any doubts, any fears, any stagnation, any anxiety. Let it go back out, back through the filter, and allowing it to be cleansed. Let's do it 2 more times. Breathing in abundance in through the filter, bringing it into the navel, allowing your body to feel the golden shimmering light, allowing your body to receive this abundance, to receive this birthright. And once again, exhaling, letting it be cleansed, letting it be released from your body. One more time, taking a deep breath in, pulling it in through the filter, allowing the nourishment to come in your body, nourishing your body with this light, with this energy, with this flow, and cycling it back out. Still anything that no longer serves you, letting it go back through the filter. Let's move down to our sacral, our womb spaces, our creativity, our source of creation. Male or female, we all have this power center in our sacral, in this space. I want you to breathe in the flowing abundance, breathe it in, let it pass by the filter, bringing it into your sacral, into your creative point, into your ideas, your execution, your thoughts, allowing it to grow. Exhaling. Any stagnation, any blocks, any negativity, anything that no longer serves you, out of your sacral, back through the filter, bringing it. Filtered, sparkling goldness of light and love and water back out to the universe. Let's do it once again. Bringing in creativity, abundance in all forms. Let's pull it in on a deep breath through the filter, bringing it into our sacral, into our womb space, into our creative space, into our space of life. Exhaling. Anything that no longer serves you, any doubts, any disbelief, any why me, why not me's, let them go back out. Let them go through the filter and alchemize only into pure love and light back into the universe. One last time, pull it in. Deep breath, golden abundance, bring it in. Let the waters nourish your womb space, nourish your sacral. Let that fill up your whole body, and exhale once again everything that no longer serves you. Now that our bodies are vibrantly glowing and nourished, let's take unconditional love, source, oneness. Let's once again go back up to the grand central sun. Let's pull it in, our connection, that we will always be connected. We are always to our guides, to God, to wherever your higher being is, even if it's just your higher self. Let's now breathe in the unconditional love in through the crown, the third eye, the throat, the higher heart, the solar plexus, the navel, the sacral, into the root, and allow it to go down your legs, out your feet, down the root to Mother Earth's core. Allowing the etheric cord from grand central sun to move back into your crown chakra, allowing your crown chakra to close. Allowing the roots to Mother Earth's core to come back up into the soles of your feet, allowing your feet chakra to close. And allowing yourself to be nourished fully in this abundance as you continue to walk through and create the life that you want. And knowing that you can have everything you want as long as you just allow yourself to be in this state of flow and energy and acceptance and unconditional love. And when you're ready, you can come back into this space and open up your eyes.
Okay, I don't want to come back into this space. But I will.
Me neither.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I'll also say thank you so much for bringing your heart and your soul here and your warriorness, which was awesome. And I think we're done. Is there anything else you would like to close us out with or add? But gosh, this is all great.
That was good. I'm in the light now. I'm gonna go.
So good. I'm so glad that
my day.
Yes, and I'm so glad you talked about ozone therapy too, because that I'll be curious if there's, knowing that I'm here in Ohio, if anyone here does it. All right, I feel just great success is coming your way. I'm so excited to see where things go for you in terms of being out there and being the face of things.
Yeah.
So hang on just a minute, and you and I can do our personal goodbye. But yeah, y'all, we'll hear you next week. See ya. Bye.
Bye, guys.
You are here. Awesome. Connect with me via Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Truth Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, or listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any of the 19 audio directories. Please connect, comment, subscribe, like. Yum!